There are different levels of difficulty that you're going to find that you're going to run across when you're setting up bank accounts internationally. And 4 different levels of difficulty that I have found. And I'm going to show you basically the different levels and also how you can try to get around this a little bit at the end. The first one I'm going to give you is a real low difficult level, and then it gets really, really high. But if you go internationally and you're going to try to set up a bank account offshore, you're going to need to understand this, because if you don't, you're going to get really frustrated. If you don't understand how banks work offshore, if you're going to run a business internationally, you're going to have to understand how this is going to work for the type of business you're going to be doing and what you're doing it for. Also, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport, as quick as 45 days, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And don't forget to hit the notification bell next to that subscribe button. And number 2 is I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And number 3 is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. All right, now this is the way it works. If you're setting up a bank account, or like a personal bank account for yourself in the country or the treaties of countries that you live in, this is basically how it would work. I'm going to give you an example of a resident. Let's say this is a citizen of an EU country. It's pretty easy to set up a personal bank account in an EU country if you're a resident there. You can also do this very easily if you are a citizen of one of the Eastern Caribbean Union countries that compose of the 9-member grouping of countries that comprise of Antigua and Barbuda, Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, Anguilla and the British Virgin Islands are also associate members of the OECS, again, which stands for the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. But this type of bank account is pretty easy to set up personally once you actually are, especially a citizen of that country. In the EU, you can be a resident and set up a bank account just about in any bank in the EU once you become a resident in one of the EU countries. Now, the second difficult level is when you're setting up a bank account for your licensed company in the country where you're licensed in, or in the treaties of countries that you live in. All right, now this is when you have a licensed business, let's say in the Caribbean, and that business was set up in St. Kitts, for an example. It'd be pretty easy to set up a bank account for your company in St. Kitts or any other member countries of the OECS for your licensed company. Now, there are exceptions to this, and they are if you're in a high-risk business for the bank. All right, now, in some cases, if the bank sees that your business is risky, as far as potentially, bringing and taking money to the bank that could, they could turn you away. So, an example of this is, for instance, Citizenship by Investment, the business I'm involved in. They're actually, you can be licensed in St. Kitts in that business, but there are banks that will not do business with my company because they don't want to do business with Citizenship by Investment because it's high risk. Although it's a licensed company, although it's it's a business that that's the second biggest industry in St. Kitts, they still don't want to. A lot of banks, in fact, most of them don't want business in Citizenship by Investment because they view it as risky business. You have a lot of people that getting second passports that. There's a lot of clean business, but you do have some dirty business coming in, and a lot of banks don't want to take that risk. So the third option is getting a little bit riskier. This is where you're, as far as the bank is concerned, is if you open up a bank account, an offshore corporation, and the owner of that account or the actual account is a holding company for assets only, and doesn't do business with the public, and doesn't accept third-party checks, wires, or cash. Now, the bank will view this type of account as pretty low risk unless the company where the offshore corporation came from is a country that is on a blacklist. Now, if that country is on a blacklist, it can be difficult to set up a bank account for that corporation unless the bank account was set up only in a country where the structure was set up. In other words, if you set up a Belize corporation and a Belize is on a blacklist, then Belize might be the only place that you can set up that account for that corporation. But typically holding companies are not, because they're not doing business with the public, they're just holding personal investments. Typically offshore corporations, they're only holding companies. It's usually pretty easy to set up a bank account unless it's with a blacklisted a country where that corporation was set up. Now, the fourth one is the riskiest. This one gets really hard to set up bank accounts. This is a bank account that's set up in an offshore company, and it's not licensed anywhere. And remember, the other one was licensed. This one's not licensed anywhere. It doesn't do business. It does do business with the public, and it does accept third-party money to this bank account. Now, the bank will study real hard the type of business that you're doing, and even if your business is low risk for the bank, most banks in the world are still going to turn your business down, unless there are a few banks that will still take that business, but I'm going to tell you it's fewer and fewer. There are less banks that will take this business than any other type of business. Most of these banks charge real high fees because they know that most of these companies don't legally pay any taxes because the jurisdictions where the companies were set up, they don't tax income made outside the country. These are, offshore corporations like Seychelles, Belize, Panama, and there are many other ones too. Another reason the fees are higher with these type of bank accounts is the competition with these banks is a lot lower because most banks will not get in this type of business. It's very risky, and they're afraid they're going to get fined or lose their license possibly. So a lot of them just have viewed it as just not worth the risk. So you got a lot less banks in this field, so a lot less competition. So the fees can be a lot higher. The extra fees that they charge you for on this type also cover the risk of, people coming in that are money launderers, and they have to have more money coming in for fees to cover fines and things that can come about because of the high risk that these type accounts bring to the bank. And we found out that setting up a crypto business account has it's a lot easier, a lot less regulation. You don't have these problems. To give an example, I'm going to give you just an example of how this works. But, when money's coming in and it's fiat money, it's totally different. It's government money, and it's highly regulated. It's totally different when you have crypto coming in. Totally different. The accounts are easy to set up. Even offshore bank accounts take a few minutes to set up. They don't have source of fund sheets you got to fill out. That you don't have to fill out. The person receiving the funds has to fill it out. If I get a wire that's $50 US, I have to fill out a source of fund sheet. They also do a criminal check on anybody that's sending a wire for the bank does this. I'm not talking about the world check. I'm not talking about the worldwide background check. I'm talking about this is the first of 3 checks that they do on you when you wire in money on when you're doing citizenship by investment. The banks, we have to fill out source of fund sheets. They'll take your name. They'll do a worldwide check. If your name comes up the same name as a criminal, they'll do a check on that to see if it matches. And in some cases, we'll have to get a criminal report in the location that you're at to make sure that you have no background problems before they will even apply that money to my account. Okay? We've had some wires that come in and take a month to clear because the person's name matched with somebody else. Listen to me. When you wire with crypto, okay, no source of fund sheets are filled out. No background checks are done. Now, I'm not trying to lure criminals. I'm just telling you the lack of regulation when you send crypto versus fiat money, the difference. It's totally different. It gets in a few seconds. We don't have this delay. You don't have source of funds sheets we got to fill out. There's no criminal background check that's done. Now, that's now. Okay, now the government's probably going to get in and start regulating these crypto companies, but you can set up offshore accounts that receive third-party money really easy. It's incredible the difference, okay? Now, if this ain't worth your time, hearing something like this, I don't know if anything is. This is something you should internalize and remember, because it's going to be a lot easier to do your business when you do it outside the country and you do it with crypto versus fiat money. Anyway, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 45 days, do 3 things. hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And don't forget to hit that notification bell next to the subscribe button. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And number 3 is, folks, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. We got over 500 videos. These are free videos. This is where you pick up this good stuff, folks. And hit the top of the screen where it says apply with us, fill out the questions, hit that bottom part that says send it to us. We deal with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. I'll look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.